to another episode of Quiet in the Library. I'm your host, Reggie. It's good to be back, and I'm excited to get back into these stories that I love so much. And we're going to continue on with the story of Calus and the Leviathan and everything that's going on inside of the Chronicon. So let's get back into it. The Shadow of Earth, having found a small but formidable team of allies in the shadows of the Elixni and of the Awoken, professed to the Emperor that, in order to move forward with their quest to usher in the end of the world, the new shadows must reclaim some of the lost knowledge of the Empire's Athenium worlds. The Emperor rightly agreed and approved the excursion. What follows is an account of the reclamation of the Athenium World X. The shadows of Earth, of the Elixni, and of the Awoken arrived on the ice planet that held Emperor Calus's Athenium World X, the name of which has been lost to time. This planet, being a repository for precious ancient knowledge collected by the Emperor, was chosen for its hostile environment, which served as a built-in defense system for intruders and thieves. En route to the planet's inner sanctum, where the Athenium world's knowledge was kept, the shadows were stalked by an undocumented species of indigenous wildlife, whose natural capabilities as a predator proved unexpectedly debilitating to the companion soul of the Shadow of Earth. The Shadow, being symbiotically reliant on its companion soul, was thus weakened, and the trio was forced to bivouac in place beneath a great monolith as a storm fell upon them. The creatures, who so far had lurked at the edges of the party's vision, crept closer under cover of the storm, which grew ever stronger and executed a stealth attack. Thus began a bloody battle, wherein the three shadows fought back, half a dozen creatures with modest success, and wherein the shadow of the Elixni fell in combat. Said the Shadow of Earth of this sacrifice later, "He knew the stakes of our mission, and gladly offered his life to help us complete it. This is a sacrifice we shadows are willing to make." It was then that the shadows of Earth and of the Awoken were able to access the inner sanctum, revealing hundreds of years of lost knowledge, which was reclaimed for the great Emperor Calus and his loyalist. It came to pass that after gathering their army of shadows, rebuilding their fleet, and making a more permanent home of the Sol system, the great Emperor Calus and his shadow received messages from the vanguard of Earth and the war machine Rasputin. These messages read, "Remove your forces from our planets and moons, or we will respond with deadly force." But Emperor Calus had seen death at the edge of the universe and was not afraid, for these figureheads and their war machine were not death. The Emperor Calus, in his wisdom and mercy, permitted his Shadow of Earth to sit down to negotiations with the Earth Vanguard. Although the Shadow of Earth spoke of the Emperor and his knowledge of the coming end, the Earth Vanguard were so attached to their worldly struggles that they could not hear. They declared war. The Shadow of Earth rose with such a suppressed fury that neither the Emperor nor his advisors had ever seen before. Shuddering with rage, the Shadow of Earth spake thus: "Who do you think I am? Without me, you have only a dwindling army of ambivalent soldiers. I am the young wolf. I killed the Taken King. I defeated Gaul. I roused the Traveler. I silenced the moon. I stopped the invasion. I broke the curse. I broke the houses. I killed the queen. I am the shadow of earth. In the following silence, the shadow of earth continued gravely. The end is coming. Consider you and your people warned. As a courtesy, the vanguard of Earth were permitted to leave the Leviathan unharmed, and the shadow of Earth gathered the loyalist forces. After the reclamation of the Athenium World X, which held it in the secrets of one of the most advanced predators in the system, the Apellion, which had the power to devastate whole worlds in a blink of an eye, the Shadow was able to use this lost knowledge to rebuild the Loyalist fleet, stronger and more magnificent than ever. With the renewed ships of the Loyalist fleet, the Shadow of Earth led an attack on the War Machine's seat of power, the region of Hellas Basin on the planet Mars. The battle was much less a war than a single, unmatched attack that left the War Machine Rasputin in cinders. It was at this time that the vanguard of Earth surrendered and begged for mercy, a request which was denied by the Shadow of Earth. When the great Emperor Calus and his Shadow of Earth had nearly conquered the system, the Leviathan was rocked by a great disturbance. Royal mechanics reported that, in the inner rooms of the ship, a strange rift has opened, and from it came the acrid stench of hive ritual pyres. I am Savathun, and I am death. It was through this rift that Savathun, the Witch Queen, allowed her monstrous children to pour into the belly of the great ship and flood its corridors with their clicking and skittering. A great many of the Leviathan's inhabitants were filled with dread and fright. While this coward invents his histories and future, I wait. These messages are my gift to you. But the great Emperor Calus had seen death at the edge of the universe and was not afraid. For this witch and her spawn were not death. Said the laughing emperor to his beloved Shadow of Earth, "Remove the wretched Savathun from my hallways. I have no use for her or her children. So consumed are they by their tragic hunger. The hive would cast a weak shadow. Erase them from that great horizon that awaits us, for they have no place at my table when the end comes." And so, the Shadow of Earth exterminated the children of Savathun. When the mother herself sought to slither back into the hole from whence she'd come, the Shadow of Earth followed her to her throne and slew her there to die her final death. Well, I must say it has been interesting going back in and checking out what Calus and the Leviathan and Savathun and the Shadow of Death and how everyone is at this point. And I'm really glad that I have an opportunity to do so with you. So thank you to all who listen, to all who support. I appreciate every single one of you. Join us next time when we conclude the Chronicon.
Thank you.